Hey there, I thought I would just give you an inside look into what it's like when I go into an organization to work with their sales teams. You know, it's been awesome because I've been able to work with groups as small as 10 all the way up to 300 sales professionals at a time. And every time it's great, and I'm able to share concepts around effective selling that can help them get to that next level. And so I thought I would just, through this quick little video, is give you an inside look at what it's like when I first go into a room, and then, I wait for everybody to come in, and then boom, I get ready to speak. And so that's what you're going to see here is a time lapse. And I just happened to put my phone up on a coffee maker, and this is kind of what we ended up with. So here we go. All right, good morning. Good morning. Does anyone know how a bamboo grows? Very fast. In a group. They take over the area. They take over the area.
Ground, and then it shoots up.
Isn't that interesting about a bamboo that you plant the seed, the first year it grows about that much, the second year it grows about that much, the third year it grows about that much, the fourth year it grows about that much, and within the first 3 months of the fifth year it grows 80 feet. So why is that? What's happening? What's the genetic makeup? What's going on underneath?
Building a foundation. Right. All over.
Exactly. Those trees know with the monsoons and the heavy rains and winds and so forth, their roots have to be strong. So for 5 years or 4 years, those roots are growing and strengthening, and then it goes up. I think that's pretty cool. It made me then think while I was driving here about the law of the harvest. Anyone remember what the 3 laws are of the law of the harvest? Any guesses on law number 1?
Plant the seed.
No, but it's related, right? Yeah. Okay, here's law number 1 of the law of the harvest. You reap what you sow. Reap what you sow. You plant seeds, right? You're going to get the results if you nourish them. So law number 2 is, so we have you reap what you sow. That's right. Law number 2 is you reap more than you sow. Now you say, well, what does that mean? Well, here's just a quick analogy. You take a little tiny seed and you put it in the ground, you nourish it. What do you get in return? Up in the Northwest, right, you can get a 80 or 100 foot fir tree, right, out of a little tiny seed. That's increased returns, which means in sales, you plant those seeds, you build those pipelines, you get those referrals. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little while. I'm just saying, you fill that pipeline, right, there's going to be results that come out of that. You reap what you sow, you get more than you sow, right? You may sell the mom and the dad a car, but you don't realize that 6 months later, they have a son or a daughter that's moving out of the home who also needs a car, increased returns. And then the last, here's the toughest one, especially for this later generation, but as Paul Harvey once said, in times like these, remember, there's always been times like these, and that is delayed gratification. That's number 3. That's law number 3 in the law of the harvest. Delayed gratification, which means you don't get instantaneous results. It takes time to build success. Most people, when I used to work with Tony Robbins, I remember Tony Robbins would always say, this is some 20 years ago, right? But when I worked with him, he would always say, most people will try once or twice and then they'll give up. But you look at high achievers and they go and they go and they go and they keep going and they go and they go, and eventually they get success. But we live in a world today, especially with the way social media is today, we don't often see the background of all the effort that went into something before the success was made or found, right? We don't always see that. It's not always clear. You think, well, that was an overnight success. No, it wasn't. Hey, in 2004, I was in the backseat of my car writing what I hoped to be a book that would maybe sell a couple copies, right? I had almost lost everything financially. The book was published. Within 3 months, it became an international bestseller, selling in over 34 countries. All right, that was just a short little portion of the full hour of maximizing sales performance that I provided to that organization that morning. There were also some other concepts that we talked about, like Aristotle once said, excellence is never an accident. We talked about performance and the self-image, and that your performance is always governed by your level of thinking and your deep down beliefs. And then we give tools for changing those. And then we talked about some sales mistakes like not asking enough questions, not being curious enough. Everybody's favorite subject is to talk about themselves, but don't talk about yourself. Spend your time asking more questions about them. So those were just some of the concepts, and there were a few more that we discussed. But listen, if you're with an organization that has a sales team, or you are a sales professional and you want more training, give us a call. Go to greatnesswithin.com and ask about our Maximizing Sales Performance workshop. We'd love to come in and work with you and help you increase your sales. All right, may you unleash your greatness within.